Welcome back to Around the Premier League. So happy to be joined by the true Geordie. And this clip here is one of the ones I'm excited about. Every week after the Premier League's finest, we're going to do Premier League Team of the Week. And no, the Geordie's not going to choose all Newcastle players, but one might make his way into this Premier League Team of the Week this week, which is actually surprising considering their performance. But without further ado, let's talk about it. We're going to talk about position by position, who we both suggest, and we're going to document our Team of the Week at the end, and you guys obviously have your say in the comment section below. So let's talk about goalkeeper. This week, we both kind of had a little difference of opinion. Why don't you tell me, first and foremost, why you chose a specific goalkeeper in your Team of the Week?
Yeah, I went for Adrian of West Ham, mate. I thought he made some absolutely outstanding saves, kept it down to one goal against Manchester City, who are looking like the champions this season, let's face it. And I thought he did an absolute brilliant show.
I think I'm going to go with, obviously, a more obvious choice in David De Gea. And not just because Manchester United got a crucial result, and they also conceded 2 goals against Southampton, but what I talked about from a tactical standpoint, Southampton executed brilliantly. Like, they caused weak side problems for Manchester United. They drew out their fullback in the left area because they knew it was an exposed weakness with Luke Shaw being out. And they switched the ball crucially. In the first 5 minutes, Southampton could have been 2 or 3-0 up. And I think David De Gea kept them in the game, even after going 1-0 down. I think that he kept them within touching distance, and then Manchester United started to play better. And then once they got back in 1-1 at half-time, David De Gea made some crucial saves just before. And I think that's the difference, that when it comes to David De Gea and you look at Romero, Man United fans, I think, were a little bit delusional, thinking, we don't need David De Gea. Bullshit. You need David De Gea. He is, without doubt, for me.
I think deep down inside, a lot of them, I think they knew it. I think, to be fair,
yeah,
I think they did know it, but
it's just that kind of hard shell that a lot of the big teams think that no player is big enough, like too big for that team. But when it comes to De Gea, I think that he has to be in that team. So I do agree with you. I think Adrian had a great game. My decision still stays final. I think I'm going to go with De Gea in there. But let's move on to the right-back position.
Is this how this works? Is it Francis' decision final? Is that
No,
I don't get the... No,
we'll have the judges, which are the commentators, decide at the end which team they would go for.
You can comment in the box below, but let's just remember, only conceded 1 goal. Let's just remember that. All right.
I think you think this is Football Republic here, and you're trying to beat. You already beat me on the Football Republic. My confidence is already shot, so I'm just trying to win one back here. All right, right back. This is a funny one for me because we just talked about it in the previous clip. Newcastle didn't exactly have the best performance, according to many examples like the Independent, the Daily Mail, the Sun. They said that Janmaat had a fantastic game, and I have to agree. I think that despite the performance as a whole, I think that Janmaat actually was a standout throughout. And I think the Dutch fullback has got a promising career. And I genuinely think he might be a misfit in this Newcastle team. What do you think?
Yeah, mate. I mean, it really was a man mountain. He was a man possessed. He was going down on a sinking ship. It was like Titanic, where, you have those lads who stick right to the end and they're playing their violins. They don't care they're going down. They're just putting the effort in. That's Daryl Janmaat, yeah? Scored a great goal. I like him, and he deserves to be in the Team of the Week.
So you're saying basically the Newcastle players were that one guy at the Titanic scene where he just lets go of the handle and just falls and then smacks and twirls his way all the way down.
Or dressing up like women and trying to get on the lifeboats, mate. That's what most of them are.
Awesome, right. So centre-back, I don't think there's going to be much debate here for us. So we agreed on the right-back. I think the first centre-back, we're both in agreement here. Kurt Zouma with a standout performance for Chelsea. A goal against Arsenal. The pace to handle Theo Walcott, who, according to FIFA ratings, the fastest player in the world. So what did you think about the Frenchman there? I mean, he just seems to be coming into his own in this position. And with the flattering performances, I would say, of John Terry and Cahill, it seems like he just seems to be rising at their decrease.
Yeah, he would be the first name on the team sheet for me. I mean, I know he's only 20, and he is capable of making mistakes, of course, but he's so quick. He's so strong. If you give him the game time and that experience, he's going to dominate for the next 10 years. Put John Stones next to him, 40 million, all right, but put Stones and Zouma together, that's a match made in heaven.
Yeah, that's a good, useful partnership that many teams, I think, would definitely be envious of because, as you said, together they could grow together. I mean, I wouldn't agree in completely throwing them together at first, but it seems like Stones has shown...
Eventually.
Stones has shown this maturity this season, specifically against Chelsea last week. He must have been somewhat embarrassed because this team is trying to get him so bad this season, but he just was a standout performance. And I think he was a standout against Man City as well, even when Everton lost. But who would you think in this team of the week, in our dream team this week, who would partner Zouma for you as the other centre-back?
I'm going to have to go for Winnie Reid of West Ham, another West Ham player. If it wasn't for him, I know I said Adrian deserved to be in goal, but I'll concede that one. But for me, if it wasn't for Reid, Man City would have at least equalised, if not scored another.
What about Russell Martin of Norwich? I know last week he had a great game. This week he seems to just piggyback on that. Scored a goal to level against Liverpool at Anfield, and his teammates are ones that are saying that he is always a threat in the box from a goal-scoring standpoint, and you can't help but just look at goal-scoring centre-backs and think that's something that kind of just sets him apart when you need it, just as we said with Zouma. What do you think of his performance?
Yeah, very like Zouma, you said, mate. Yeah, I mean, he capitalised on a pathetic punch-out by Mignolet. I think me Nana could have hit the ball harder than that, if I'm honest with you. But Martin, congratulations to him. It's a great start to the Premier League. He's done really well. All right, I could definitely see an argument for him being in the team. And not to mention, his cousin Ricky is a very popular singer.
Oh my God! I had no idea you were going there with that. Like, how you got to Ricky Martin, I have no idea, man. You're always living the vida loca, I tell you that. You're always thinking about him. All right, left back. I think at first I was going to go with Moreno because I was impressed with his performance, but then the more you talked about Azpilicueta, I can't help but just let my man crush for his defensive performance come through. I think that for me, at one point last season, and I got scrutinised for this on TYT Sports, I said he was hands down, at one point last season, the best one-on-one defender in the world. What do you think?
I think he's had a few dodgy games lately, like all Chelsea players have, to be fair. But in this game, he was a rock. The Arsenal tried every player they had on that side against him. Oh, that's not working, right? We'll throw Ramsey there. That's not working. We'll throw Ozil. It's not working. He was too good. He was on his game, and that he kept the clean sheet for that very reason.
And I think we're moving, whilst we'll stay on this consistency factor. You just said Azpilicueta, he hasn't been as consistent, but we're going to switch over to someone who arguably could be the most consistent player in the Premier League at the moment. Leicester's Mahrez. I talked about my Premier League team of the week last week, and they were talking about all the commentators were like, where's Mahrez in this team of the week? Where is it? He's been phenomenal. And I have to put my hands up and say, rightly so. The Algerian has just become a phenomenon. And he's going. I think he's already putting himself in a stake for Team of the Year already at the start of this season. He's been in every article's Team of the Week since, I would say, week 2 of the Premier League, and he just seems to be on point. And he's working so cohesively with Vardy. So, what do you think about his performance this season?
For me, it's almost like Eden Hazard had a down to earth experience, and he died like the Chris Rock film Down to Earth. He died. He needed a new body. So he went and took over Mahrez. Then some other chum got Hazard's body, because I don't know what's happened to Hazard, but Mahrez is making Hazard look like an absolute chum. He's been out of this world. He's been untouchable. He's been the best player in the Premier League this season by a mile, but not even close. And
it's one of those factors that just reiterates to you, like when you look at this player and you realise he's only 24 and I'm sitting here at 25. I mean, I'm not doing too bad for myself, but you're sitting there and you're just thinking, this lad he's phenomenal. And at this age, I think he's going to just obviously grow with this team. I just think that Leicester are going to have to do a very good job of keeping hold of him at the end of next season, because I just think a lot of teams are going to be circling the water to try and sense where Leicester finish this season and try and lure him away. So let's move into centre midfield. We'll work our way across the midfield line. So according to many different articles here, Juan Mata has made his way into this position. What do you think? Do you agree or disagree with that?
I couldn't disagree with it. There might be somebody who I might pick ahead of him, but I thought Juan Mata had a very good game against Southampton, got the goal, controlled the game for so long when it was in between, from when they were 3-1 and he'd scored the goal before they did eventually make a bit of a fight back. He absolutely ran the show, to be honest. I couldn't argue with that.
The thing that you talk about him is like, you look at Robin Van Persie, right, who came in to Manchester United with all the hype around him and bagged 18 goals since his start at United, and went on to be considered one of the best goal scorers for United in his first season. Juan Mata scored 17 goals for United, and you look at he's not exactly consistent in terms of his name on the starting sheet. I mean, Louis van Gaal sometimes will drop him in and out, but Juan Mata comes up with some crucial goals, as we've seen time and time again. Why do you think that he's never considered, I would say, as an out-and-out starter for Louis van Gaal? It seems like he is doing so more this season, But when you look so much at last season, there was times where he just wasn't considered as the out-and-out, I would say, playmaker for Man United.
One of the main reasons is how weak Manchester United have been around the field. And they have been all right, we'll put Fellaini up front, we'll put this player here, we'll put this player there. And he's had to jumble his team around so much, Louis van Gaal, that he hasn't had the luxury of saying, all right, Memphis out left, Rooney up top, Martial playing off of Rooney, and then there's the forward three sorted. We can now play Juan Mata as the number 10.
Yeah.
Now, he should have been playing there from day one, in my opinion. It's his perfect position, and he showed that against Southampton. But maybe now that they've got a settled front three, he might actually get to play his favourite position, and we'll see the best out of him.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. I've always rated him as a quality player, and I'm excited to see that. So, other centre midfield, who do you think would partner him in there? I know this exactly wasn't your first choice, but why don't you tell me who you think would partner in the centre midfield for your team of the week?
I'm going to say Kevin De Bruyne, because although they lost Manchester City, he was the bright spark. He was running the show. He was making everything happen, similar to what Mata was for Manchester United. Got the goal as well. Very good strike. And I think he's going to be a really good signing over the next few years for Man City. And he had a great game against West Ham.
Something so, I don't know, just like subtle about his performance, right? You know what I mean? He never seems to ever get out of like fifth gear. You know what I mean? He's just cruising, and it seems like he's always a threat when he's on the ball. And there's something about De Bruyne's game that I would say is just like it's Pirlo-esque in an attacking sense, because he just seems that he's got that class act about him. You know what I mean? And from an attacking standpoint, along with his pace and his direct ability, you rarely see him, I would say, stutter on his decision. When he gets the ball, there's one thing about him that I say is that even with Wolfsburg, he knew exactly what he was going to do when he gets the ball into his possession. He knows exactly what direction to take, and something that I think is a class act for him. The funny thing about this, you mentioned Hazard. Every single team of the week I've read online has put in Hazard in. Now, I don't technically agree with that. I think Hazard was good, but I don't think he was a class act this week to get him into the team of the week.
No chance. This was Hazard's best game of his season, but he was still pretty average by the standards of Eden Hazard last season.
Yeah.
De Bruyne, for me, was much more influential against West Ham, much more in the game. Everything flowed through him. He was what Arsenal fans wish Mesut Ozil was.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. I agree. I absolutely agree. All right, so round up the midfield. I think I liked Son for Tottenham. I think that he came up with a crucial goal, and now it's his third goal in 4 days for Tottenham. I think this is what they needed. I mean, I was a little disappointed for Tottenham not going in for a star striker to try and partner Harry Kane. But when they signed Son Heung-min, at first thought, I'm thinking, I remember that name. And I remember it from the Bundesliga because he's a goal-scoring attacking midfielder who can play up top. And I think that the South Korean's kind of coming into his position at Tottenham. And I think, for me, he deserves a place in the team of the week.
Well, I couldn't argue with that, mate. I mean, some of the shots he's capable of, I've seen in the Bundesliga, unbelievable. He can really hit a ball, there's no doubt about it. Personally, I went for Mane. Created 2 goals, essentially, had a hand in both goals for Southampton, generally just causing Manchester United havoc whenever he did get the ball. But Son did a very good game.
I think with you saying Mane there, it just kind of, I would say, re-emphasised my tactical analysis, because I did say that Mane was going to be devastating against Manchester United if they gave him the ability to go one-on-one. Because similar to what I'm talking about with De Bruyne, he's very direct, and he, for me, is one of the best one-on-one players at taking people on. And I don't think there's many teams in the Premier League who can handle him when he runs at them with pace. And I don't think there's any argument with our strikers here.
The kind of players, mate, you pay your money for. That's what I watch the Premier League for. When I grew up watching Faustino Asprilla for Newcastle, taking players on, beating men. That's what I want to see in Mane. I think if Mane does go to a top 4 team, then when he gets the ball constantly and he's all over teams and his team have constantly got possession of the ball, then we're really going to see what he's capable of.
It must just be so disheartening to be a Southampton fan, because you see this and you just know to yourself, some dick is going to come in with a big transfer budget and be like, all right, I'll take him, because they did a good job of somewhat, I would say, shielding themselves from the devastation that they faced last year. This season, they only lost a couple of their players, but then you get Wanyama saying he might leave, and now you get Manchester United circling the point for Mane. I mean, it just must be devastating for them.
Well, one thing they do have on their side, mate, is it looks like Brendan Rodgers is getting sacked, so that's one less person who's going to want to buy Southampton players.
All right, well, I don't think we'll go into the strikers. I don't think there's much argument here. Both of us were on point with our 2 strikers, so why don't you kick it off by saying the 2 strikers who we went with if they partner together right now, they'd be fucking devastating.
Yeah, Ighalo, who scored 2 goals against Newcastle United. I mean, Troy Deeney helped them, but he was just unplayable. We couldn't get near him, and he was helped by the bad defending, don't get us wrong, but he was fantastic. And also, Martial, I've already commented on him on a previous video we did around the Premier League, but, you know, what did you think of his performance, mate?
I thought Martial was phenomenal, as I said, and I think that, firstly with Ighalo too, it's just emphasised on where Watford are on the table. Top half of the table. No one would have expected that, not me as well. I know it's early days and this thing happens. We see West Ham last year, who were almost at the top of the table at the start of the season, and they just slowly drifted away. I think the best thing about teams like this is you need to understand it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. You can't peak too early, and I worry that a little bit with Watford, but I'm not going to be completely pessimistic because I think that with the Nigerian up top, they've always got that threat. He's very, very quick and he's got an eye for goal. Often when you see these players coming in from Africa, I think that they've definitely got talent, and I've seen players up top there who definitely, I would say, encompass all the attributes that you expect for those players coming in to play up top, but sometimes have not got that finishing ability that we want to see in the Premier League. But I think that with Ighalo, he's got that ability to his game, and he's got the ability to find the back of the net. But for me, the standout this week, as you said, Anthony Martial, exactly what Manchester United needed in this game, because it was a tough game against Southampton, and I think that when you've got someone like Martial up top, they're always a threat with the counter-attack, and I think that that's something they lack because they move the ball so well, United. They move it patiently, but sometimes you just need to be quick, you need to be direct, and with Memphis and Martial, they seem to be forming, I would say, a good partnership in there. I don't think that Memphis has hit the heights yet that I want to see him hit, but Martial just seems to be piggybacking on that counter-attacking football.
Well, I have to say, mate, if he carries on the way he's going, which is almost impossible to keep that kind of level of goal scoring up, but if he even can just, you know, level out and keep scoring goals every now and then with that kind of performance, helping create, playing on the last shoulder, one thing that is so difficult to find is someone who is really quick, is strong, and is a good finisher. Potentially, they have a world-class talent on their hands.
And everyone out there, including me, is eating the words of the money that they paid for him, because I was like, it's a lot of money out there. But, I mean, you got to give it to Louis van Gaal.
Guess what? When he signed, though, I was like, look, he's a good player, because I'd seen a bit of him. And then now I'm sitting there like, yeah, I seen it coming. I seen it coming. I didn't think he'd be this good. I've got to admit, I did not think he'd be that good.
Oh, me neither, mate. But there you have it. We're going to throw up both of our teams of the week up there so you guys in the comment section can have at it. Let us know which team you would go with. Let us know the decisions we made. And make sure to check out the True Geordies YouTube channel and the True Geordies gaming channel. 2 amazing channels over there. I watch it personally just in my off time. Kind of sad how much I watch it. But it's what happens because you appreciate each YouTuber for what they provide. So make sure to come back to Around the Premier League. I will note every week we'll be bringing in other people on top of me and the Geordie here as soon as we get our Skype system working. I think Skype had a disastrous day. I don't know if it overheated or something. Who knows? But we're going to be bringing everyone in. It's going to be a full round table here. It's going to be a great discussion around the Premier League. So make sure to stay tuned to that and subscribe.